So I want to do a mini series as part of my SimCity 101 in which we talk about the specializations that are part of the base game. I have used these specializations as part of my gameplay, but we haven't actually done a tutorial on them. I have played and done tutorials on Mega Tower, the Academy, and Omega. So the future specializations that are part of Cities of Tomorrow, we've gone over, but we have not discussed up until this point mining, drilling, electronics, culture, and gambling. I've done a video on trading. Trading is, I consider, a secondary, a support specialization. And you'll notice in 3 of the 5 tutorials that we do, trading is going to be mentioned as part of mining, drilling, and electronics. But what I want to do is I want to go through the base game specializations and just offer some information about them. Let's talk about some tips. Let's go over some strategies in order to help you when you're playing with these specializations. So let's talk about gambling. Gambling is a good early specialization to get into, but it can be started at any time. The cost of getting started with gambling is relatively low. The first step is you would need a gambling house. You cannot add any of these other casinos until you start the process. Gambling house, you need to have working power, working water. You need 21 commercial buildings in your city. The cost for the basic gambling house is 15,000 simoleons, and the hourly rate is 260 simoleons per hour. There are other modules that you will need to add to it, but this is your base rate. And then you would need to unlock the gambling headquarters in order to start unlocking the other casinos. So when we were talking about the specializations of mining, drilling, electronics, your resources were either coming out of the ground or your resources were being brought in a delivery truck. When you get to the specialization of gambling, your resource is are tourists, people. So let's kind of discuss gambling. Let's look at some ways to get the most out of the gambling specialization. Some tips and some strategies to help you maximize gambling. What I have found is when you're dealing with a specialization that is centered around people and tourists, you really want to make sure that the first thing is you're looking for a city that offers multiple ways in for your tourists if possible. So when I am looking at a region and I'm trying to decide which city plot I'm going to be using for what, just like you would pick a city plot that has oil underground if you're doing the oil specialization, it's really nice to be able to bring people in not just with the highway, but to bring people in by rail, depending upon the type of gambling you're going to be doing. Having access to water is helpful as well. So let's start with the gambling house. That is the first thing that you're going to unlock. So the gambling house, 15,000 simoleons, 260 simoleons per hour is where your gambling begins. So whether it is the entry-level gambling house all the way up to a high-level elegant casino, what you're wanting people to come to your gambling facility. You're wanting them to spend money. You would love it if they would spend the night and continue spending money the next day. So with the gambling house, you have, first of all, the option of putting down a sign. When you look at it, it does say it will increase casino tourist attendance. So I do put down a sign. That's the first thing. Now you want to decide which wealth level do you want to cater to. So when it comes to gambling, before you start placing a lot of things, you want to look at your tourist information. What wealth level of tourist is coming in? I try to cater to that wealth level. Sometimes you can get yourself into an issue if you are in the process of trying to draw in a wealth level that is not currently coming to your city. So that's one of the things that you want to start with is what type of tourists are already coming. If nobody is coming in, then you can start the process of getting a certain wealth level in. But it's really important throughout the gambling specialization to really keep an eye on the tourist traffic that is coming into your city. That way you can cater your gambling experience to the wealth level, to the type of individual that is coming into your city. So we have cheap rooms, we have nice rooms, cheap rooms for low wealth, nice rooms for medium wealth. I typically will do a combination of the two, but you can stack however way you want. Just know that the rooms are in the same category as the attractions. So you can just maximize and put out rooms, but you also want to have a good mix. So if you're looking at your information and you say, okay, I really want this gambling house to cater to low wealth, then you could put out, say, the nickel slots, or you would put out the blackjack tables for medium wealth. If you've got low wealth and medium wealth hotel rooms, then you can do a mixture of a low wealth attraction and a medium wealth attraction. With those four items, I have now maxed out this gambling house, so I cannot add anything else to it. So it's up to you to make that determination on what you want to place. But a good rule of thumb is to cater to, with the gambling house, you're going to cater to both medium and low wealth. So a good strategy would be to do a low wealth, medium wealth lodging, low wealth, medium wealth for the attractions. Part of your initial planning for gambling is getting the people to the location. So if I were doing a gambling house, I would want in close proximity my mass transportation. So I have a train station. The individuals can get off the train and they can go directly to the gambling house. Part of that planning process is a regional bus terminal. The shuttle bus depot only serves people within your city. So this is great for commuting. When you're getting into tourism, you're going to want a bus terminal, whether it's the standard or the double decker, but you would like to place it someplace close to your gambling area. So you really want a concentrated gambling area. I wouldn't do gambling spread out across the city. Do a concentrated area in which you can get people coming off the train and you can get people coming off the bus and going to your gambling establishment. I also will put a bus stop right in front of all gambling locations to make it easy for the tourists. Once you go down the path of gambling, you're also going down the path of crime. You're going to want to put down a police station in relative close proximity to your gambling. Um, really keep an eye on police, keep an eye on the capacity of your jail. You're going to find that you're going to get a pretty nice spike in criminal activity, not only close to the gambling facilities, but also at your commercial locations. And then the crime activity will spill over to your residence. No matter what type of city I'm working on, whatever the specialization is, I always um, pay a lot of attention to education. Education in a gambling city is going to help you because that is going to help keep at a lower level the number of criminals. Remember, educated Sims commit fewer crimes. So the simulation is not going to generate as many criminals in an educated city as it would in an uneducated city. But even still, the simulation, you could have a fully educated city and all of your cities in the region educated. The gambling specialization is going to generate criminal activity. To support your gambling efforts, you want to also surround your gambling. You want to place your gambling in commercial zones. This will give your tourists not only gambling opportunities, but it will help to bolster what is taking place in your city from a commercial standpoint. Your city, the simulation will recognize that you've got gambling taking place and it will start to have hotels develop in close proximity. So keep commercial close by. I have found that two gambling houses, if you put them in the right location and you've got good gambling tourist traffic, those two gambling houses will get you to the point where you've unlocked the gambling headquarters. The gambling headquarters will now unlock and allow you to put down the other casinos. From there, then you can make some decisions as to what you want to focus on. Of course, the first thing I want to focus on is my sign, but from there you have the option of the entertainment division. So this is going to give you disco clubs and areas for concerts. You've got the gaming division, so you can add on to your casinos with gaming areas, and you've got the lodging division. Earlier, I was talking about the importance of getting people to stay in your city. So, of the divisions, the lodging makes the most sense, but it's really up to you as to what it is that you're trying to accomplish with your gambling city. Once you have moved up from the gambling house to the other casinos, especially if you're going for the high wealth casinos, if you have access to water, this is a wonderful opportunity to now put down a ferry terminal. With the ferry terminal, you're going to want to add the cruise ship dock. The other thing that you're going to want to think about when it comes to gambling and especially the high wealth is you're going to want an airport. You don't have to have a lot of runways, but an airport is going to help you. So what's happening is now you're bringing people in via airport, ferry, train, and bus. So I just put down the lodging division. I like to get the individuals to come and stay in my city. The two most user-friendly casinos are the Sci-Fi Casino and the Sleek Casino. If you look at the Sci-Fi Casino, you'll see that its primary focus is low and medium wealth. If you look at the Sleek Casino, you will see that it is a nice blend of low, medium, and high wealth visitors to your city. So with a Sci-Fi Casino, of course, I want the marquee, and it says low wealth tourists attracted per day 600, medium wealth tourists attracted per day 600. So it's not just there for looks. It does help to bring in tourists. I think the Disco Club not only looks cool, but it is a great addition. And as before, I want people to stay in my city for a visit on a long-term basis. So don't just come and visit and leave. Come and visit and stay. So I focus more on the lodging aspect than I do on anything else. But once again, play it the way you want to play it. If you want to focus more on other aspects, great. But knowing that the key is getting people to stay in your city, then lodging makes a lot of sense. So when I'm doing my casinos, I'm really focusing on the lodging aspect of my hotel. And then I will add on a few parlors here and there. Be careful with the Roman Luck Casino. Also be careful with the Elegant Casino. If you're wanting to get into the Roman Luck and the Elegant Casino, you will see that the Roman Luck Casino does not cater at all to low wealth. Its catering is to medium and high wealth, and the Elegant Casino is catering even more so to high wealth. If you're going to get into those two casinos, then you really want to make sure that you have made some good plans and that you're putting the casino in close proximity to your airport and your ferry. The high wealth tourists are more than likely they're not coming in by bus, they're not coming in by train, they're driving in, but they're also coming in by plane and by ferry. So you would want to strategically place those two casinos close by. But what I would do is I would keep an eye on the population. And if I was noticing, thanks to the Sleek Casino, if I was noticing a high wealth population coming in, a high wealth tourist population coming in, let's say they were coming in to shop, if I am seeing that happen, even before I put down the Roman or the Elegant, if I see that high wealth tourists are just visiting the city in general via the airport and the ferry, then I would start the process. I would start considering putting down the Roman and the Elegant. I just don't want you putting down a casino that does not have the population and the hourly rate, especially for the Elegant, that hourly rate of 5,000 simoleons an hour. Roman Luck, 3,750 simoleons an hour. That's before you add on anything. That can start the process of potentially um, taking what would have been profitable within your city and turning it into a negative, and then you're starting a downward spiral. Sleek Casino is a more reasonable and more manageable 1,500 simoleons, and then the Sci-Fi 1,125. Just want to make sure that you are well informed and that you've got a good game plan. I tend to do a combination of gambling and culture. I'm keeping them separate for tutorial purposes, but I do a lot of times do a combination. But my casino only cities, I will have a good mix. I will have two, three, four gambling houses. I definitely will do the sci-fi casino, and many times I will do the sleek casino. At some point, if you've got good transportation set up, I have seen casino cities bring in a profit that is comparable to the resource specializations such as oil. I have seen it compare, I've seen it even surpass that, but the thing is you have to be strategic in how you're placing your transportation. That's really what it's all about, is transportation. How easy is it for your individuals to get to the attraction? But really, when it comes down to a gambling specialization, you want to make sure that first and foremost, you've thought it through. You've made a plan as far as where you're going to put your transportation. You've also thought about the concept of crime. Do I have enough police presence? Are my residents educated so that I'm not generating extra crime? The game is going to generate crime no matter how educated the people are, but at least you can hold down some of that. And then also, what type of wealth level? Are you paying attention to the wealth level that's coming into your city? Those are the foundational things that you're wanting to work on when it comes to a gambling city. But I hope this helps. If you have any questions, if you have anything that you want me to uh, touch upon, focus on, I'm more than happy to. But just wanted to kind of do an introductory tutorial that goes over gambling, my strategy, my tips, how I would approach a gambling city, some pitfalls, some things to keep an eye out for, but all in an effort just to make sure that you get the most out of this type of specialization, which is a lot of fun. Um, and you're not only having fun, but your city is profitable. So have fun, enjoy the game, and we'll see you next time.